In the year 2011, when I was just a dumbass kid, I went to this random mall in Fort Collins, Colorado with my family. Of course, the first place my brother and I wanted to visit was GameStop. I browsed the expansive wall of Xbox 360 titles until something stuck out to me. Dead Rising. What the hell is this? For years at this point, my favorite game ever was Left 4 Dead 2. And I'm just now finding out there's other zombie games? I immediately picked out the game and asked if I could get it. I don't know why I didn't actually own my own Xbox at the time. I was just gonna have to play it on my older brother's if he even let me. Thankfully, I was able to get the game, and double thankfully, my brother was busy that afternoon doing older brother things, I guess. And I played the fucking shit out of this game. I was immediately hooked by the intro cutscene. This photojournalist named Frank West travels by helicopter to this random town in Colorado, ironically. And he also ends up in a random mall, ironically. I immediately fell in love with this game even though I skipped every tutorial and had no clue how to play that shit. I just ran around vaguely following this arrow at the top of my screen and killing various zombies. Granted, I sucked at the game and died often. Also, my dumbass little kid self didn't even know that you could save the game. I somehow deducted with my total of 1.5 brain cells that the sole purpose of the game was to see how far you can make it without dying. Eventually, my brother played and he said, "Hey, you realize you can save the game, right?" And I had no fucking clue. I also didn't even know you could heal by eating in the game. One time when I was playing, I randomly found a baguette and said, "Hey, this would be fun to beat on some zombies with." And then I tried and Frank gobbled it down instead, and I fucking immediately realized, oh, that's how you heal. As soon as I saw those sweet, sweet little starburst looking health bars return to the corner of the screen, I felt like a fucking idiot. After a while, I started getting used to the gameplay and even started becoming pretty good at murdering the zombies. I still kind of sucked at the game though. I avoided boss fights like they were the plague. I asked my brother to help me with some of the story missions and I still couldn't even beat the thing. But I didn't care, honestly. I enjoyed every second I spent with the game, whether I was cutting zombies down with a lawnmower or running as fast as I could away from Adam the Clown. Point is, it was a great time. I never actually finished the game back then. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's because I moved on to the sequel and just kind of forgot about this game for some reason. But years later in 2016, I saw that they remastered the game for current gen consoles, so I immediately got that shit for my PlayStation. And it was fucking great. I had a wonderful time. And I actually finished the game this time. I've been revisiting this game at least once a year since, and I've always wanted to talk about it ever since I started my channel like 3 years ago. So without any further ado, welcome to my retrospective of the first Dead Rising game. I hope you can enjoy. You arrive in Willamette, Colorado. All you see is violence and riots as soon as you enter the town. You take shelter in this large mall and talk to a few of the residents inside. Like a strange man on the roof who seems to know more about the situation than he's willing to share.
Doesn't sound like civil disobedience. It's too quiet.
Almost as if everyone's already dead.
Are you serious, my brother?
You make your way inside and through this empty, creepy security office and witness this on the monitor.
What in the world?
What the fuck is going on, dude? You make your way further into the mall and finally get your first sign of life. A whole group of sad and concerned strangers have congregated in this mall for safety.
Have you seen my baby? I can't live without my precious little sweetie doggy. Oh, where is my Madonna? Where is she? Oh.
You spot a mysterious anime girl across the way. How do you open? I guess you don't get to as some random asshole just interrupts you.
Girl, son. You looking to get yourself eaten alive by zombies?
What? Did you just say zombies?
Take a look out there. If those ain't zombies, what would you call them?
He's a rude man who seems to be taking charge currently. He tells you to gather some supplies for the barricade, and you oblige. As you make your way through the mall, you see grieving person after person, before finding piles of random shit to use. As you go to collect it, an old man shows up and blames you for his situation.
You! Stop right there! Do you have any idea what you've done? Why did you summon me to this place? What are you planning?
Would you calm down? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Since you're a little distracted getting harassed by an old man, you didn't notice what was happening at the front of the mall. You shove your way past hordes of the dead to survive. You watch survivors get killed off all around you. As you narrowly escape to the staircase, fun fact, you can get a shotgun here. The opening of Dead Rising is rightfully iconic and immediately invests you with its mysterious tone and its terrifying zombie aspects. You take shelter in a security room with 2 armed strangers and 1 janitor. These characters are extremely mysterious but are very enjoyable as the game goes on. Brad and Jesse are both DHS agents who are looking for the old man mentioned earlier. As the story goes on, you work with them in order to unravel the conspiracy. But currently they just kinda act like stuck-up pricks. Brad is very abrasive and just kinda dismisses you, and Jesse just wants to see your photos, gets freaked out by a scary old person, and then ignores you. Brad actually decides to go back into the mall, giving you the decision to leave as well. I remember this made me shit my pants as a kid. The idea of going back into the mall after narrowly escaping the first time terrified me. But you have to, so fuck it, I guess.
You ain't planning on going back down into the mall, are you? I wouldn't do that if I were you. But you young folks never listen to me. Well, if you're gonna go, at least take this transceiver with you. And you better take this map, too.
Otis gives you a walkie-talkie and says he'll be in touch. And boy is he fucking ever, he'll call you all the damn time. You can't skip the calls or really ignore them because he'll just keep calling you. Or if you go through the door or get attacked, the call will immediately end and he just gets pissed at you. Hey Otis, what's up, man?
Don't cut me off like that, it's rude. Anyway, here's what I was saying.
But when you build up the courage to crawl through the vent, you'll find 2 survivors hanging out on the roof, Jeff and his wife Natalie. They've apparently lost each other somehow, and once you reunite them, you take them back to the safe room for some points. Some PP points to be specific. Rather people say PP points, the P stands for points. PP is how you level up, and you get it by saving survivors, doing missions, taking pictures, and doing some sick-ass finishers, hell yeah. If you really want to know where all your PP is going, we can talk about the leveling up system really quickly. Basically, at the beginning of the game, you're a weak little beta bitch who only has 4 health slots and moves like a damn snail. But as you go along and collect more PP, you'll slowly get stronger. The highest level you can reach in the game is 50, and once you do, you'll be given 10 health bars in total. You're also really fast and agile. If you drink Quickstep, you're basically the Flash, or Quicksilver, depending on your sexual preference. And you unlock a lot of skill moves that I'll quickly go over now. There's a simple jump kick, which is exactly what you'd expect. The zombie ride, which allows you to jump on top of people and walk over them. Kickback, which is a nice smack kick right behind you if a zombie's trying to sneak up on you. A power push, which just slams a motherfucker right out the way. A football tackle, which just slams the motherfucker to the ground. A judo throw, which is amazing. A double lariat, which just look. A goddamn roundhouse kick. A lift up, which you can then use to heave a motherfucker. A knee drop, which you can use from any high vantage point in the game and land as far down as you want and you won't take any damage. A fucking suplex, a League of Assassins wall kick, a hammer throw, a classic neck twist, a giant swing, a dope ass face crusher, which is so fucking fun. My favorite of all time, disembowelment, a speed of light somersault kick, a simple karate chop, and last but certainly not least, the zombie walk, which will allow you to recreate that rightfully iconic Shaun of the Dead scene. But this specific way of earning PP is the survivor system, a terrible and broken ass system that is not fun to engage with. The encounters usually go as follows: find survivor, talk to survivor, lead survivor, watch survivor die brutally because they're a brainless idiot. Survivor gone. Think about survivor, but at least you can give them weapons, I guess. But they get distracted smacking zombies that aren't in their way, but if you give them a gun, they have unlimited ammo, which isn't fucking fair, dude. The more the merrier, right? No. The more you have, the more blood's gonna be on your hands by the end of the night. And if you do manage to save them, all you get is their PP, and then you have to listen to them cry for hours on end. They come in different types too. Some won't use a weapon because
I'm a pacifist, apart from David and Ed.
Something to be carried because their legs are fucked, and sometimes they'll even turn on you because they've had one too many love taps of encouragement. And when this happens, you have to kill them. There's no going back. Fuck the survivors, man. It's so fucking hard to save them all. I don't think I've ever saved all of them successfully in one playthrough. Anyway, back to whatever the fuck I was saying. So basically, when you use the air vent and take the elevator, you're greeted with an eerie storage room. You're constantly checking over your shoulder and making sure that there's no zombies waiting to jump out and scare you. But no enemies can actually spawn in here at this point, so you're totally safe. But as you walk down the hall, you're jump scared by Jessie. Frank almost domes her with a fire extinguisher, but she falls over instead and hurts her ankle. This is where an iconic line is born.
Say the line, Bart.
I've covered wars, you know.
She gives you her gun because she's way too fucking trusting, and she tells you to go find Brad. You're sent out into the mall with this vague task of finding Brad, and it's great. Immediately you see zombies in the distance everywhere you look, showing that you're not safe at all. As you progress through the days, more and more zombies will spawn, eventually filling the mall completely like a bunch of fucking ants. You think it's hard transporting survivors now? Try taking them through this shit. You make your way through this lovely department and through this enormous park, all while being guided by this little arrow. You stare at your watch like a badass, just pick what you want to do, and this little guy shows you how to get there. Most of the time. Some of the time. I mean, sometimes it doesn't even know what the fuck it's doing at all, but eventually you arrive in the food court when this shit happens.
Your, girlfriend sent me to find you.
Okay, we'll have to talk about this later. You know how to use that gun?
I've never fired at a person.
Alright, I'll cover you from here. You need to stick to the shadows. Try to get close to the target, okay?
And what am I supposed to do when I get close?
Well, the best solution would be to shoot the guy.
You and Brad have to team up to take down Carlito. There's a few missions like this in the game, and they're all badass. I love them so much. There's a few ways to take down Carlito. You can take cover and shoot him, but that takes fucking forever. Or you could take a katana, climb up this bitch and slice his ass up. But regardless of how you beat him, he still runs away like a little bitch. You and Brad decide to team up to unravel the mystery at foot. You follow him through the zombie-infested strip and into the main area once more. Brad tries to convince the old man from earlier to come with you guys, but he's unsuccessful.
Said he isn't going anywhere until I can guarantee a secure route out of here. Jesse has a direct line to HQ. The first thing we need to do is to call for backup.
After completing this mission, you have free access to the mall for a while, and this game takes full advantage of its setting and really lives up to the term chop until you drop. There's a damn near endless amount of weapons, toys, and random useless products to mess with. You can pick up basically any item lying around and beat someone with it. As you browse the mall in its many shops, you can try on a variety of different outfits. You can get a nice suit or dress, style your hair, dress like an asshole, or even wear child's clothing, which a very strange amount of people do in this game. The amount of freedom that this game gives you to mess around with different clothing styles is very impressive. There's so much mall to explore. You can return to the previously mentioned strip and save 2 survivors shacked up in a shoe store.
Damn it, just what I need. Another crazy person harassing me.
So as soon as you get in there, he tries attacking you with a bat. So you have to pound on him for a while before he's willing to talk to you.
Shit, just leave me alone, you son of a bitch.
You'll also meet a woman in a jewelry store who claims to watch her baby get eaten in front of her. Jesus Christ, I'll discuss this more later, but I really love how well this game balances horror and humor. This strip also contains cool shit like a gym with sliding doors that won't open for zombies for whatever reason. There's also a machine gun in the fountain because this is America, or a Japanese dude's idea of America, I guess. You can find a lot of these in random spots all around the map. You also have complete access to the main area of the mall. It has a lot of different stores with various cool things like swords, bikes, skateboards, and more. After exploring for a bit, you'll discover that the quickest way back to the safe room is blocked by a gate, so you have to go all the way back around where you came from. You start to walk through the massive park only for this to happen. These guys are a major threat. In theory. They're scary sometimes when they're mowing you down, but half the time they get stuck, which makes them easy as hell to kill. But once you kill them, you can steal their car and drive it around haphazardly. You can also just straight up take the minigun off the back and just lie down every fucking zombie in the area. It's also really effective against certain chainsaw wielding clowns, but shh, you didn't hear that one from me. These dudes always tend to respawn every few hours though, which is pretty annoying, but at least you get to steal their shit every time. Also, like most bosses in the game, they have a banger ass theme song. But aside from just them, there's actually a fair amount of shit in this park area. Easily the most open and big area of the entire game, which results in a lot of walking. A lot. But you can find cool weapons here like shears, so you can reenact that one scene from Zombieland.
Come here, big fella. Just gonna take a little off the top.
You can head over here to this random parking lot where you can steal a fucking convertible or a motorcycle. You can also access the spooky parking garage from here. Ooh, so scary. Oh shit. This place becomes deadly quick if you don't have a car. But if you do, it's an easy way to access a lot of different points in the mall, and it's basically the only way to get enough kills to unlock the Mega Man Gauntlet. Yes, there's a Mega Man Gauntlet in this game, don't ask, okay? Fitting with the mall setting the game has, it even has its own mall music and it fucking bangs. Even if you haven't played this game, chances are you've heard these tunes before. In fact, I used them in a fuck ton of my videos, so you might recognize them from here on this channel. Aside from that, the game also has its fair share of licensed music, which they mostly use for boss fights and stuff like that. And they're also fucking great. You have shit like Slave by the Evolutionaries. Bored Again, Gongaroo by Life Seekers. By the way, if you haven't heard this song before, get ready for that shit to be stuck in your head all the time, because every time you go outside in this game, it fucking plays. You also have the game's original music, like the unsettling chime that plays whenever Frank witnesses something fucked up. This game's soundtrack is appropriately dark and bleak, and I think it fits the narrative perfectly. Making your way back into Paradise Plaza, you can find a lot to enjoy in this 2-floor space. There's several restaurants and clothing stores. You can find another machine gun here and even a katana. And there's even a fucking blender, which is dope. These are really fucking cool as they allow you to mix different food items together to make a unique shake. But while you're creating contraptions in this restaurant, you'll be approached.
Hey you're in my way! Can't you see I'm hard at work? I'm trying to take some pictures here! You got a nice camera there yourself, but you don't know the first thing about photography, do you?
Sorry about that. You know, I happen to be a pro too. Maybe not as good as you, but...
Do you really appreciate the weight the word professional carries? If you don't have the talent, you can't just use the word like you own it.
The name's Frank West. Sorry I got in the way of your shot. I'll just get out of your hair now.
Okay, hang on a sec, buddy.
He gives you a photography challenge, which he's very particular about.
Don't be shy now, Frankie. Here, I'll even model for you. What a great idea, huh? Sometimes I think I'm a genius. Let's get started.
Depending on how well you do here affects how the story plays out.
Hey, I'm not posing over here for no reason. You gotta time it right, Frankie. Nice shot, you did it. Of course, half the credit goes to your model. Why don't I do you a favor? I'll have a look at your technique and give you some pointers.
One day you'll come back and he'll be wanting assistance as he feeds a guy a slug for his ex-hamster pictures. So you have to kill him, or he kidnaps you and chains you up for his RedTube videos, oh no. And once again, you have to kill him peacefully. No matter how you kill him, he still begs you to take his picture like that one guy in Nope.
Do it, Frank. Take my picture. It'll look great on your mantle.
There's a lot of characters like this in the game, and they're called psychopaths. They're survivors who are completely broken mentally by the outbreak, and take out all their anger on you for some reason. I was gonna say this is one of my favorite staples of the series, but that's only half true, as Dead Rising 4 decided to completely abandon it in favor of the Maniacs, which are basically the same thing but less interesting, as they don't have an intro cutscene or any real story to them. You just go there to where they are, and it's like, hey, fight this evil Santa Claus guy. That's the best we could think of. Aside from fucking Kent, there's a few nice survivors that you can meet here too. You have a pair of twin sisters, some hungry ass dude who's just demolishing this restaurant, which is named Jill Sandwich, by the way.
That was too close.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
There's several different cult hostages and that poor schmuck that Kent seems to enjoy fucking with. But we can't talk about them yet because we haven't even talked about the regular enemies that much, the zombies themselves. This game has amazing zombies, dude. This is how you fucking make them scary. They're very easy to kill. A few good whacks from any weapon should do it, but in numbers they're a major threat. They have a few different speeds, really fucking slow, a little less fucking slow, and basically jogging. But their main danger is the bite. They get you in this grab animation where they take huge chomps at your neck and take away entire health bars at a time until you shake them off with the joystick. But besides them, you do meet a few other threats throughout the game. Like one day you're just chilling and minding your business when you come across a series of Georgie from It enthusiasts. They try to sacrifice a boxwoman and you're like, hey, what gives?
If we are to achieve salvation, his blood must flow! He must be purged! Spill his blood! The blood of the heretic!
So they have beef with you for a while. You'll encounter them in lots of areas in the mall. They're usually sitting in clusters and they pray and chuckle out loud, I guess. They're pretty easy to kill, but they can fuck you up if you're not careful. They'll stab you or grab you, and when you push them off, they fucking explode. Sometimes they'll just straight up suicide bomb your ass. But their biggest threat is when they take a handful of straight cocaine, throw it in your face before kidnapping you, and stealing all of your shit, including your clothes. Why does everyone in this game want to see me naked? Is it them giant ass feet? Maybe. You'll wake up in this box and have to fight your way out of their congregation. Eventually, you can defeat these bastards by confronting their leader. Mike Pence can be found in the movie theater in Paradise Plaza. He's a boss fight and he puts up a really decent fight. Okay, he puts up a good fight. Okay, it's a great one, I'm sorry. Once you beat him, he has one of the coolest death animations in the game.
Give me strength. I beseech thee!
But getting back on track, you have to make your way back to the storage room when this happens.
Shit.
They don't really explain it too well, but these are queens. They're basically what created the zombies, and they could also be used to end the zombies' whole ass existence. Eventually you'll go back and talk to Brad and Jesse in the security room. They try to discuss their further plans and even try to contact HQ, but to no avail. They'll need to figure out a way out of here on their own.
There's a helicopter coming.
You offer them a ride in your chopper in a few days, as a form of double agreement, I don't fucking know. Brad pisses off to find some supplies and leaves you alone to do whatever you want. But since we got this free time, I guess 30 minutes into this video is a good enough time to talk about the main character.
Alright, listen! Don't forget to come back for me!
As long as you're not dead, Fred.
It's Frank. Frank West.
But Frank West is honestly one of my favorite protagonists in gaming, like no joke. I straight up puppy dog eyes love this guy. Everything from his sarcastic demeanor to his inner journey of becoming a reluctant hero, and his pretty icky face. This time he's in deep and he's fucking terrified. He has no clue what to do and he just basically goes along with everyone else's plans to try to survive with pure luck. That's not to say he's some kind of bumbling idiot though, no. He's not Nick if you know what I'm saying. He has a lot of redeemable qualities. His ability to talk his way out of situations is very impressive. He's a very quick on-the-fly thinker which saves his ass many times in this game. But over the course of the game, all these attributes are tested and he's forced to adapt. He can't always talk his way out of these situations. Sometimes he's frozen with fear and a lot of these fuckers aren't really looking to reason.
In a situation like this, I can't afford to trust nobody!
He's a quick thinker, but so are a lot of his enemies, and he's bested by them pretty often. He's thrown headfirst into some crazy-ass conspiracy that he has to unravel with the help of some very untrustworthy strangers.
Frank West, photojournalist.
I'm schizophrenic.
D, I swear you would be of more use to me if I skinned you and turned your skin into a lampshade. Or fashioned you into a piece of high-end luggage. I can even add you to my collection.
Are you saying that you have a collection of skin luggage?
Of course I'm not, D. Don't be ridiculous. Think of the smell. You haven't thought of the smell, you bitch!
Frank is not a passive character, he's very much a go-getter. He chose to put himself in this situation and he's gonna get himself out, damn it. But not before getting the scoop. Any scoop he can get. I'm talking like it, love it, and gotta slurp it, if you know what I'm saying. What I'm actually talking about is the side missions. There are a lot of them. Every so often, aka 5 seconds, Otis will call you and inform you on something that he's seen in the monitor, and these will be added to your objective bar with various different names. This is a cool idea in theory, but in execution, it's a little repetitive, as most of these missions are basically just the same shit. They're just the aforementioned survivor missions or someone you have to fight, and that's really it. It would have been cool to have some like side quests that carry on for multiple missions, considering this game's expansive setting. There's a lot of different shit you can do in here, and a lot of different micro stories you can tell, but instead, this is all we really get. Except for one important thing, the Psychopaths. This is one of my favorite parts of the entire game. They all have unique gimmicks, weapons, backstories, and perspectives on the apocalypse. Most of these guys are optional, but they're so much fun to engage with that it's kind of hard to ignore them. As much as I would love to sit here and just talk about all of them back to back, I think for the sake of this video's pacing, I'll just have to discuss them while I talk about the different areas of the mall, if that makes any sense. So, we've already discussed the Paradise Plaza, the Alfresco Plaza, the Entrance Hall, and Leisure Park. But although we talked about Entrance Plaza, we didn't talk about the crazy cool bosses it contains. Yeah, there's technically 2, but I'm saving that one for later because it's related to the story, and they're exactly the same anyway, so who fucking cares? A family of snipers starts taking hot shots at you from the upstairs balcony.
Can I take a shot, Dad?
Getting a headshot from here's no big deal, Jack. Think you can pull it off, Thomas?
But Daddy, he ain't no zombie. He's just a man.
Thomas! We're doing this to survive. You know that.
I always felt bad for this kid, mainly because he has the same name as my brother, and also because it seems like his father is forcing him to attack you, but it doesn't let you save him or like spare him or anything like that. There's probably some message in here about society and the apocalypse or whatever, but I'm way too exhausted to think about that. Sorry Thomas, you shouldn't have fucking shot me anyway. Now your whole family's gotta die because of what you did. Nah, just kidding. I was gonna slaughter both of them anyway. There's a reason I don't consider this a full boss, because usually bosses will have a cool dedicated death scene like the one seen earlier. But that's not the case here, shit just kinda ends. Maybe that's intentional, maybe it's meant to mean something. Or maybe the devs just kinda ran out of time, probably the latter. But it's fun to pretend, you know? After killing them you could save a few more survivors, the most interesting of which being a man named Floyd, who's held up in an antique shop.
If you're still human, then surely you'll see the beauty in this next work.
Sorry to get in the way of your hobby there, pal, but this is no time to go antiquing.
If I'm gonna die, I might as well do it surrounded by great works of art, don't you see?
Hearing the perspective of someone who's completely accepted the situation he's in is really interesting and a nice change of pace from the constant fucking crying.
I'm so damn old. Even if I got out, I wouldn't have much time left.
He's pretty set on dying here, but after a few minutes of convincing, and by convincing I mean bullying him. Listen, old man, are you honestly telling me you want to die here? That you wouldn't regret it? You can't really consider this crap art. I've made better art in the can. He eventually decides to leave with you. Again, much different from your average, oh, safe house, okay, that most survivors give. I really like hearing perspectives like this as it makes the situation feel more real and dire. We've already talked about the Paradise Plaza and the Alfresco Plaza and a large park, so why don't we take a trip to the other side of the mall? The Wonderland Plaza definitely lives up to the name, as the first thing you'll be greeted with amongst entering is a giant roller coaster and a giant creepy ass rabbit. There's even a few survivors dangling from that shit, like how the hell did you even get up there to begin with? Speaking of survivors, you can also find an old lady trapped on a giant ball in here, a whole store of kidnapped women, which we'll talk about later, 2 dudes who don't speak any fucking English, and arguably the most important, a staff member who will show you a shortcut to Paradise Plaza if you help him. But most memorably, you'll encounter a man named Ross of his wife Tanya. They're clearly in distress as Ross is greatly injured. This scene is so memorable as Ross's fate is completely in the hands of the player. If they have a pistol, they can actually give it to him, which will cause him to immediately kill himself. But if you don't, and you instead talk things over with him and his wife, he'll eventually change his mind and decide to go with you. I wish that more survivor interactions were this unique. It always felt like there was some real stakes at play here, you know? There's also 3 whole separate psychopath encounters that can happen here. There's a cop lady named Joe.
What have we here? Looks like you lured another man in here, you little whore.
She's some kind of crazy sex pervert who happens to kidnap innocent women and holds them hostage. Jesus Christ.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, not again.
I need a shower and bleach for my eyes. This boss is easy as fuck. All she does is shoot you with her handgun and occasionally tase you. What you really gotta look out for is her charged attacks that can be fucking devastating. When you kill her, this shit happens.
Oh, it hurts. The pain. Oh, I'm gonna die. Can't believe a worthless prick like you did me in.
I wanna die. I just wanna die. The next one is a 4chan user named Paul. He seems to be a pyromaniac. His boss is really easy, if you can fucking catch him. As soon as that shit starts, he takes off like Usain motherfucking Bolt. And when you try to chase him, he throws Molotovs and random bombs at you because I guess he just has those lying around. He does go down super easy though once you do beat him, and he even lights himself on fire like a fucking idiot. You can put it out and save him, making him the only psychopath you can spare in the entire game. I don't know why we couldn't spare Thomas, but fuck it, let's save this Redditor instead. But the last psychopath is certainly not the least, as he might actually be the best in the entire game. Adam. No, the other Adam. This dude is simply iconic. A murderous, acrobatic, double chainsaw wielding clown. What more could you want? This boss is tough when you're first getting started. He's so fast and agile. He's coming down on your ass before you even know it. I could have phrased that one better, but we can just move on and we don't have to talk about it. His attacks do a lot of damage, and he can just straight up deflect your hits and even shatter your weapon completely sometimes. What a fucking dick. I was terrified by his ass as a kid. I always just immediately ran from his ass. I could not handle the smoke. Guns are pretty effective on him though. I mean, obviously he's a human being. You can shoot his balloons and stun him, but be careful, he might shoot you like a dragon. That's actually so fucked up, oh my god, and people say this game isn't horror? Fuck out of here. At least you get his 2 chainsaws after the whole ordeal's over, and these babies are wonderful. They're so powerful, they can kill every boss in like 2 to 3 hits. They're so powerful, they can level a whole crowd of zombies in seconds, and they're basically your only defense against those bastard soldiers. These things break the game in half. You maintain them well by carrying around these books and taking them out sparingly, then you will be able to carry these chainsaws throughout the entire game. It's magic. I love you forever, Tiny Chainsaw. Speaking of books, there's quite a few of them in this game, and they all serve unique and different purposes. There's 4 different main things a book can improve. Some can give you more PP. There's the skill books, which can improve your writing skills and your ability to lead survivors. Some of them are meant to boost the effects of food. And lastly, there's some that increase your strength and the lifespan of certain weapons. You'll know it's working if you see a tiny book next to the item. You can even have multiple at once just to make them even stronger. And now that he's dead, you can ride the roller coaster as much as you like. Whee! Oh, a submachine gun, get that shit. But that's about all there is to Wonderland Plaza. It has a few shops with cool shit to try on and to use to kill a motherfucker with, but it's still pretty simple, and that's what I think I like most about this place. But after all that exploring and constant battling, you should be just in time for the next story mission. Several hours of complete nothingness goes by before Jesse spots something concerning in the monitor.
That can't be good. What's going on anyway?
Before this whole thing started, someone called the professor and told him to come to this mall.
Jack the line, did you? So was this the caller, this guy here? They've got something to do with the zombies, don't they?
They're the reason we came here. And if he gets away with Dr. Barnaby, none of our questions will be answered.
We learn a bit of useful information in the scene. We know that these two are agents, and we know that this man is some kind of scientist who may or may not be involved in the creation of the zombies. And we know that Carlito is also up to no good, if that wasn't made obvious earlier. Like, way earlier. It appears that Carlito has kidnapped Dr. Barnaby, so you and Brad have to go and save him. The gates blocking the way between Paradise Plaza and the main entrance has been lifted, providing you easy access, but as soon as you get inside, you realize it's not safe.
Don't be daydreaming out here. Someone's shooting from the floor above. If we don't do something, the Professor's gonna end up zombie chow. I'm going for it. You just worry about staying alive. Got it?
You and Brad quickly make your way upstairs to challenge Carlito, as he has this massive sniper that does serious damage and can even send you flying through the goddamn air. Brad's method of attack seems to be get shot a bunch of times over and over again and occasionally get a shot in himself, but I much prefer to jack myself up on speed, quick step, and just run up to him and slice his ass up with the chainsaw.
I'll be fine. Just take care of the Professor. Go!
Dr. Barnaby seems to be completely unconscious, and worse than that, Brad is critically injured and likely to die if you don't help him. Jesse sends you off to the North Plaza in order to find him a medkit. I haven't talked about this place yet, but it's a portion of the mall that's more or less completely unfinished aside from a few shops and bathrooms. I really like that this area exists in the game and it adds a lot of detail to the mall. It kind of feels frozen in time as we know it will surely never be finished, but the main big store that is here is a place called Sean's Food and Stuff. It's a completely desolate and kind of eerie grocery store. The room is completely silent aside from the quiet music and the hum of the light bulbs. You make your way to the back, but before you can enter the door, this happens. This man is completely and utterly insane. He has a shopping cart that's decked out with weapons like some Mad Max or that one episode of Amazing World of Gumball type shit. And in this cart lies the mysterious woman from earlier. Oh boy. Oh no. This fight is actually pretty fun as this dude moves fast as hell. And his cart can be quite deadly in these narrow aisles. Most people will try to jump on the shelves, but he has a plan for that too and will just immediately blast you.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them. Bang!
My store. My food. My sales. My customers. Have a nice day.
Sucks to— oh my god! Jesus fucking Christ, you piece of shit. After beating him, you try to talk to the girl, but she's not very receptive of your alpha male advances.
You're the ones who caused this nightmare. You ruined Santa Cabeza and started all this.
I wonder if that might be important later. You return the medkit to Jesse and have a quick conversation about the mysterious girl you just met a few seconds ago.
Are you alright? You have blood on you.
Huh? Oh. Yeah. Must be from that girl I saved.
Girl? Was she hurt?
I offered to help her, but she took off.
Can't really blame her for running from a guy with your looks.
Okay, damn. Dr. Barnaby finally wakes up in the mention of the place called Santa Cabeza.
I take it you know what Santa Cabeza is. Am I right?
What? Jesse kicks Frank out and leaves us to our own devices once again. Boy, after a battle like that, I imagine the guy would be pretty hungry.
Why would you not want to eat one of these every single day of your life? I mean, they're delicious. They're full of carbs, which is great for a pump.
Let's make our way down to the food court for a snack. Oh boy, I'm so hungry. Oh. Hey, what the hell are you doing in here?
Feel like a drink, partner? No cover charge.
This is one of my favorite survivors in the game. It's exactly what you think, a drunk idiot who's completely given up. Crazy old drunk, don't you know what's going on outside?
You expect me to stay sober in this situation? Asshole.
Look, there's a helicopter coming, and if you want to be on it, you'll come with me.
I've already got someone coming to get me. Angels. Beautiful angels.
He's very difficult to convince at first, but once you get him drunk enough, you can easily carry him back to the safe room. This really makes Frank sound like a rapist, huh?
Zombies, angels, people, whatever. Let's all get drunk.
While we have more free time, let's talk about what else North Plaza has to offer. Not much. In all seriousness, it does have two major stores aside from Sean's food and stuff, and that is the beloved gun shop. Oh, the zombie apocalypse survivor's sweetest dream. I can't wait to create that scene from Dawn of the Dead. Let's go. Oh, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? What the fuck is that?
Hang on.
God damn it, I warned you. In a situation like this, I can't afford to trust nobody.
Yet before you know it, you're thrown headfirst into another fucking boss fight. And this guy sucks. He repeatedly shoots you with a shotgun, which knocks the fuck out of you. And if you try to jump over the counter, he fucking heaves you back over that shit like a goddamn WWE wrestler. And he even stops to drink wine like a snobby bastard. This was before the enemies could heal in this series though, thank fuck. I don't really have a great strategy for this guy. I just kinda camp outside his door, shoot him in the motherfucking face until he dies.
You want guns so bad that y'all are willing to kill for him? Let me go. Hey, please. Hey, wait!
Yeah, well fucking deserved, asshole. Also, this is like the only time in the game where someone comes back from the dead without being bit or infected by a worm. So yeah, fuck consistency. After killing him, you have complete access to the store, and you would think it'd be like a kid running through a candy shop, but it's not that exciting. There's just a handful of shotguns and snipers and handguns that you can grab, which is still nice and all, but I don't know, variety in guns has never really been this franchise's strong suit. Aside from fucking Cletus, there's a fair amount of friendly survivors in the North Plaza that you have to save, unsurprisingly. There's a man with an injured leg, there's 3 different survivors being held captive in a locked room, and one of my favorites being this gangster looking man who's named Kendall, who loves shooting fucking zombies in the face. You also have this trio who take over the gun shop once Cletus dies. But they're willing to reason, unlike the last guy.
You still breathing there, buddy? You've got some real balls, man. You got business with us?
There's a helicopter coming. It will be here on Friday, and I thought you might want to ride.
Where's it supposed to land? There's zombies everywhere.
There's a heliport over on the roof of the entrance plaza.
But the security room door's sealed.
There's an air duct on top of the alfresco plaza. It's a straight shot to the security room.
Not that I trust you completely either, man. Brett, what do you think?
How about some proof?
Go find your duct and take a picture of it with the camera you got there. Then we can talk.
So yeah, this is a real thing. You gotta go all the way back to the safe house, take a picture of this bitch, and go all the way back to the fucking gun store to show it to the guy. Feast your eyes on this.
Looks kosher to me. Brett!
Let's do it, list the way, man.
The last shop of interest in the North Plaza is the hardware store. This was my first ever psychopath encounter, so let me set the scene for you real quick. You enter this quiet and empty shop. Nothing's there but blood-drenched floors and decapitated bodies hanging from the ceiling. You walk around in complete silence for a second until you hear his voice.
Name and rank, soldier!
You can't tell me, can you, fella? Oh yeah, I know why.
It's because you're Viet Cong.
I'm right, aren't I?
You are nothing but a filthy communist!
This is Cliff, one of my favorite bosses in the game.
You son!
If it wasn't apparent by his dialogue from a second ago, he's a Vietnam veteran who snapped when he saw his daughter get eaten, so now you have to kill him, depressingly enough.
By the time I'm done beating information out of you, you are gonna be begging for death to come take you away.
He's fast as hell, his hits feel like dynamite, and he has these cubby holes that he can just jump down and fucking come out anywhere in the store at any time. What the fuck is that about? fuck, Frank, just follow him. Go down there, you pussy. And then he'll reappear on top of a random shelf and throw fucking bombs at you. It's fucked. Not to mention he has a dope fucking theme song. After you beat him, you have to suffer through this painful cutscene. This is another reason he's one of my favorites. He's one of the few villains you can really feel empathy for. Sure, you might understand why the other ones are the way they are, but none of them are really empathetic. They're fucking dicks. But Cliff is different. You truly feel bad for him, and it sucks to see his story end this way.
My granddaughter. She was done in by those damn zombies. When I heard her scream, I just lost it. Everything went white suddenly. The war, it wasn't over. Not for me. It never ended.
Dude, Otis, this is a really bad time.
Frank, I spotted that girl you were talking about on the monitor here.
Well, that's good, I guess, but I'm still sad. After returning to the safe house, you see Isabella in the security cam, as she once again returns to Sean's food and stuff. So Frank decides to go after her for some answers. Once you get there, you'll immediately have to fight another fucking boss fight, as she's immediately aggroed and hops on a motorcycle to attack you. This shit's annoying as hell. She's really fast, and every hit sends Frank twirling through the goddamn air like a dreidel. And every time you climb the safety, she just dips. The only way you can really beat her is to just go crazy with the shotgun. After beating her, she crashes the motorcycle and tries to fight Frank as he, Frank, you're really not helping your case, guy. Frank forces her to talk to him like any Andrew Tate fan would have to do, and she finally does.
The zombies were created by you, not us. The zombies are a message from Carlito. He wanted people to know.
We're left with a lot more questions than answers here. We know that Isabella and Carlito are siblings, and we know they're responsible for the Willamette outbreak, but why? What is their ultimate plan here? And what happened in Santa Cabeza? You once again go all the way back to the North Plaza to meet Isabella in this random ass room. You end up waiting a while, probably feeling stood up like your average Aiden Ross fan, but suddenly... Oh shit, you gotta save Isabella! Or not. You could just stand there, I guess that's also an option. But once you kill the zombie, she reveals that Carlito turned on her and even went as far as to fucking shoot her in the arm.
He shot you? He didn't mean to. He was upset.
Oh, okay. That totally rationalizes things. I forgot that people are bullet sponges in this game. Isabella faints in a very suggestive manner, and Frank has to carry her back to the safe room. While you do this, you overhear Carlito begging Isabella to return over the mall's intercom. When you first arrive at the safe room, the others object a little bit to the idea of bringing Isabella here, but Frank fills them in on the details.
His sister? What in the hell is going on here? I mean, does this have anything to do with that announcement earlier?
I don't know much more than you at this point, okay? But he shot her, I can tell you that.
They allow her to heal for a bit, but Brad immediately begins to interrogate her as soon as she wakes up. He questions her about Carlito's motive and what her connection to Santa Cabeza is. It doesn't take long for her to reveal the truth. The US government were conducting experiments on how to mass produce cattle, and during this process they experimented on these wasps, but it ended up causing a major side effect that they had no way of predicting. I mean, they literally turn you into zombies. It's a pretty big deal. Barnaby bursts out the room as he tries to take a chunk out of Jesse's neck. Brad goes to shoot him, but Frank just puts that motherfucker in the face like a football. As he wiggles around the floor like he's breakdancing, he gives one final speech and basically just clears his dirty conscience before he dies.
We were conducting experiments to reduce the cost of breeding. We accidentally
Made zombie livestock.
Even as he dies, he denies his guilt, a sad, bitter man till the very end.
I haven't done anything wrong.
Hey, at least you can finally take his picture without him flipping shit on you.
Move.
What? Oh, fuck, Jesus, dude, even in death he won't let me take his fucking picture. After a bit more arguing, the group finally decides to work together for the time being. They need to figure out what Carlito plans to do next, and they need to figure it out quick. But it turns out they don't need to search that hard for an answer, as it literally just falls into their lap. The last resort? That can't be fucking good.
Carlito said that he'd blow up the mall if he were cornered.
Also, this dude gets shot once, and his sister abandons him, and he just immediately gives up his original plan and decides to throw in the towel. You were eating those fucking bullets I was shooting at you for the whole game, but this one was too much? It turns out that his last resort is a pretty big deal though, as he plans to line the underground tunnels of explosives and gasoline which will engulf the entire mall in a massive explosion. Fun fact, if you don't beat this mission in time, the game will just end. The mall exploding is one of the several endings this game has. We'll talk more about those later though. Now it's just time to go motherfucker run! First I gotta use this blender real quick though. Alright, keep running. Eventually you get down to the tunnels, and this is where your third and final battle with Carlito takes place. In this one, it's a bit intense. Not only do you have to worry about the fucking millions of zombies now, you basically have to go to several different ends of the tunnel and take a bomb out of these random trucks, but the whole time you're trying to do that, Carlito is actively chasing you down in his own truck and trying to run you over. Once you do beat him, he crashes the fucking truck like an idiot, and then Brad decides to go after him. So while he's doing that, you desperately need to go find all these bombs. This mission actually becomes pretty intense, and I think it was one of the main reasons I never really beat this game as a kid. It's pretty fucking hard sometimes, and it can be really stressful. Once you collect all the bombs, Frank loads them into a shopping cart and pushes them into the middle of the fucking parking lot, and it just runs away from that shit like a badass. I mean, most dudes just walk away, but I guess running and then falling over is cool as well. This might feel like a victory, but it's actually very short-lived, because we're showing a cutscene of Brad tracking down Carlito to this random storage room. They're taking off hot shots at each other from far away, but they're both running out of ammo really fast. Brad decides to do a really risky maneuver to save the day.
Well, shit.
And just like that, one of your closest allies throughout this entire game is gone. Just as you were starting to get to know him as a person too, it's already over. And I haven't spoken much about him as a person, and I know Brad probably seems like your typical stern, rude military guy type of dude, you know? But there's a lot more to him than that. He definitely has an empathetic side, and he's willing to trust Frank after Frank proves himself that he can be a trustworthy source to rely on for backup. He also quite clearly cares a lot about Jesse. A lot of people like to imply that there's some kind of romance between the two, but I think it's pretty obvious that he's a bit older than Jesse, and I think he just wants to get her safely out of this situation because she is so young and he doesn't want her to have to suffer through something like this. This death scene always makes me really fucking sad, dude. And the sadder part is a lot of people don't even see the half of it because they just see Brad get swarmed by the zombies and they're like, damn, guess we'll never see Brad again. But if you try to go down into the tunnels and find where he was, you actually can, and it's really fucking depressing.
It doesn't hurt. Not even a little. I'm already dead.
This is another great example of how this game balances horror and humor. Sure, it's a fun zombie slash 'em up with cool guns and cool toys to fuck with, but it has really hard-hitting moments like this as well.
Don't tell Jesse about this.
Once you return to the safe house, Jessie tells you she's proud of you and Brad's efforts. And after seeing the first glimpse of happiness in her eyes this entire time, Frank decides not to tell her about Brad just yet. Wanting to stop Carlito after all the pain and damage he's caused, Frank makes Isabella show him where Carlito's hideout is. It seems like they've been hiding inside the roofing of the mall, which would make a lot of sense. They try to access Carlito's computer, but Isabella isn't sure what the passcode might be. As they desperately try to unlock it, Frank gets a call from Jessie, instead of Otis for once. Thank God. She tells Frank to get back to the safe house immediately, and even though we just got here, we have to once again trek all the way back to the North Plaza, back to the Paradise Plaza, and then into the safe house once again. When we do arrive here, we look at the cameras and see a ginormous beast of a man dragging Carlito into his chambers. Frank quickly makes his way down there to find, well, this.
This is good meat, huh? I just got it in here. It's fresh. Zombies are no good. I can't serve my customers spoiled meat like that. I have a reputation to uphold.
This guy is a decent threat. He has this absolutely massive meat cleaver that slices through your ass like smaller knives cut through butter. Blades do similar things, who would have thought? He also has these deadly charge attacks that will knock you straight on your ass. Sometimes he'll throw knives at you, or fucking shelves, or an entire fucking cow. Once you beat him, he squeals like a pig and then dies. With that out of the way, you're now able to finally confront Carlito before he dies. And I like that it's not some big crazy final fight against him, where Frank bests him and that's what kills him. Your final fight was that action set piece in the fucking tunnels. But instead it's a final conversation between the two parties who have just been kind of shooting at each other on sight the entire game.
I mean, all they do is eat and eat and eat, growing in number, just like you good red, white, and blue Americans.
Carlito realizes he's dying and decides to give Frank his necklace that we've seen a couple of times throughout the game.
Give this to my sister.
This is a pretty empty feeling moment. You're confronted with the dark messages this game has. This whole time Carlito was just some random guy to shoot at, but for once we see that he's also a victim like the people here. Obviously that doesn't make what he did okay in any aspect, but you can understand his pain and desire for revenge. People will do anything to get more of what they want. They'll do ungodly acts to get those things. People are selfish and they don't care about the well-being of others as long as they can make a profit. The only reason Santa Cabeza was considered a failure isn't because it basically wiped out a whole population, it's because it wasn't profitable in the end. Innocent people always suffer so that others can live comfortably. Some of them are aware of this, but they don't really care. Is there anything they could do anyway if they did? Is there anything anyone could do to stop this cycle of abuse and selfishness? Carlito wasn't a great man, but were we any better? Near hopeless, Frank returns to Isabella. He gives her the necklace and informs her of Carlito's demise. She grieves for a second but seems to realize something. The same phrase mumbled by Carlito earlier. She enters it into the computer and it actually works.
Pachamama, Mother Earth. Our parents said that a lot. The place we lived, Santa Cabeza, was blessed with nature.
But as they scan the computer, Jessie calls Frank once again.
Frank, it's over. HQ's decided to ignore us.
What? What do you mean, ignore us?
I contacted headquarters, but the government has decided to deny all knowledge of what happened here. Special forces will arrive for cleanup at midnight.
The third act of the game is so intense. For every minor victory, there's a way worse problem around the corner. Jessie begins to have a realistic depiction of a panic attack. God, I can't say that without laughing. And as she sits there, a few soldiers arrive and start to interrogate her, but she's completely unresponsive. No fucking way, okay, how? Did Barnaby bite her? How? How did he get infected? Oh, whatever. Jessie's dead and it's still pretty sad. She wasn't a super developed character or anything, but she was enjoyable, especially in the later parts of the game. She was a good asset to the team, and I mean that she actually provided a lot of intelligence and good ideas, but other players seem to take that definition a little literally. You can return to the safe house and find Jessie and put her out of her misery. While we're grieving, the soldiers full on invade the mall, taking basically every zombie out in the process. And amongst them is Bald Evil Soldier Man. He has a name and it's Brock, but that's basically all he is, so we'll talk about him more later, I guess. Now your main enemy is these faceless soldiers rather than zombies, and they suck. They're equipped with tactical machine guns that do serious damage, and they have a fuck ton of ammo per mag. But when they gun you down, you don't just die, no. You suffer a fate much worse than death. They strip you down to your underwear, which is a sentence I've said a surprising amount of times in this video. They also take all of your gear, including the little chainsaws if you still have them, so if you're able to, avoid getting caught at all costs. Taking the soldiers as their final sign to get the fuck out of there, you can return to the helipad that you arrived on to wait for the chopper. It seems hopeless at first as Frank is left waiting way past the agreed time, but then...
Well, I'll be damned. He's still alive. That son of a bitch made it. That must mean he got his scoop. I can't wait to get my share of the take. Woo! Yeah!
Finally, a moment of triumph after all the pain. We've actually done it. We've actually uncovered most of the mystery. The story of Santa Cabeza and Willamette, Colorado will be told, now that we're finally free. And that's it. That's the end of the game. After all your hard, I'm just fucking with you, that's not the end of the game, obviously. I mean, it can be though. A lot of players have a strong chance of this being their first ending because of one tiny detail. They forgot to tell Isabella about the helicopter. Like, come on dude, how rude you gotta be to forget about that. But as he sits on the roof and sulks in his misery, a zombie comes close to chomping his neck, but... This is the beginning of something called overtime mode. It's the true canon ending of the game, and it's a fucking bitch to achieve on your first playthrough. Isabella takes Frank back to the safe house as he passes out from shock. He eventually wakes to some god-awful news, man.
You must have gotten yourself infected somehow.
Oh no, how could this be? I've only been bitten 300 fucking times. Frank comments on the fact that he's basically a walking time bomb, which causes Isabella to have a genius premonition.
We had 50 doses of the drug prepared. Not long after that, the NPO managed to find homes for a large group of children. Want to guess just how many?
You heard that right, folks. Carlito's second last resort, I guess, was to literally infect 50 children with the zombie virus and give them this temporary antidote so they'll eventually change and spread the infection throughout the country. This is so fucking crazy that it's actually kind of funny. I take back all the nice shit I said about you. Fuck you, Carlito, you little bitch. Also, Frank goes to this random tower in the center of the park to find a backup generator. But what he finds instead is the fucking crash site of the helicopter as it's completely torn a hole in the side of the wall, revealing this. He does find a generator though, and you return to Isabella, and this time she sends you out into the mall for grocery lists filled with fucking bullshit. So you have to spend a long ass time traveling all around the mall with these assholes harassing you. You gotta collect like 1,000,000 queens, which is way easier said than done. Then some other random vague fucking ingredients that I barely remember before she can finally make the temporary antidote. Now safe for a while, it's time to think of an exit strategy, and Isabella has like her 18th good idea in a row. Jesus, Frank would be screwed without this woman.
I managed to identify a pheromone that suppresses the attack instinct in adult parasites. In other words, the zombies don't like the way it smells.
Oh, no shit. You're serious, aren't you? Have you guys ever seen Redneck Zombies, where the zombie's weakness was fucking perfume? This shit always reminded me of that because it's the same concept if you think about it, except in this game it just causes them to ignore you, but in that game it literally made them run away with fear. Her idea actually does work and you're able to navigate the tunnel pretty easily, aside from a few doors you gotta open here and there. But they managed to crawl out of the tunnel and steal a military vehicle. They try to escape only to quickly realize they're trapped in some major storm drain area. I don't know what this shit's called, and before you know it, you're being chased by a fucking tank. You man the turret while Isabella drives. Why am I getting deja vu? But regardless of your efforts, it's not enough to stop the tank.
These automated machines are no use at all on the battlefield.
This is Brock, the tough military guy from earlier. He's your final enemy. But he really doesn't have that much of a personality, like at all. He's just kinda a bad guy, and I think that's the point in a way. It's what he represents that really matters. He's basically the face of the cruel and neglectful military that is responsible for all of this in the first place.
If we had fulfilled our mission then, we wouldn't be needed here now to take care of this incident.
That's all it was to you, huh? A mission. What about those innocent people who had to pay for sins committed by our government
Our
and its
mistakes
inhuman
have
research?
not begun with this operation. Humanity has proven itself to be quite adept at making mistakes.
This boss is capitalism as a person, basically. You are fighting fucking capitalism, and you're gonna kick its ass. Kinda. This boss is not that easy. All of your weapons are completely gone, so you have to fight him hand to hand, and let me just say, hand to hand combat was not made for something like this. Frank's flailing fucking Wii Sports ass punches are not nearly enough to take this guy down, so you gotta rely heavily on shit like the jump kick. And even this takes forever, but eventually you'll beat him, allowing this shit to finally end. For realsies this time, I'm being serious. And yep, I'm not joking this time. That's the real ending. All we're left with is this vague quote at the end of the credits. And yet he complained that his belly was still not full. A sentence that more or less sums up the entire game. I used to hate this ending, but it's grown on me a lot and I find it quite impactful, to be honest. It's fitting with the game's tone. The main question the game asked is, when can this cycle end? And it basically comes to the pretty dark and realistic answer that it probably never will. Authority figures will always abuse their power, and man will always be willing to hurt each other to get ahead. It's a very dark but unfortunate truth about our world, and I think this ending encapsulates that perfectly. Hell, the whole narrative does. Despite being a little cliche at times, I find Dead Rising to be one of my favorite zombie stories. It's one of my favorite pieces of horror media in general because it's not just like any other horror game. The game is filled with heart and you can really feel the passion even to this day. I've seen a lot of people advocating for a remake, and at first I was skeptical, but now I think it's a great idea. Not only could it improve on some of the more lackluster older controls that this game has, but it can introduce a whole new generation of people to this amazing series, and maybe, just maybe, it might be able to resurrect this long dead franchise. Is that a bit too optimistic of me? Maybe, but I don't fucking care. Not at all. I love Dead Rising, I always have and I always will. It's easily one of the greatest games I've ever played, and I'll always cherish my many hours with it. There's nothing like Dead Rising. Even its extremely solid first sequel doesn't fully live up to this game's potential for me. There is nothing at all like Dead Rising, and there might not ever be again. Thank you Keiji Inafune for bringing this masterpiece to life, and thank you for watching my video.
Is hell.
Oh, you're still there? Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can go over a little more if you want. Once you beat the game, you'll be able to replay it as much as you want and continue to level up your initial run's build. I highly recommend a few replays of this game as there's a lot of stuff that's hard to experience all in one go. They also have these extra game modes you can unlock called 5-Day Survivor and 7-Day Survivor. It's a super hard survival version of the game that switches up all the survivors and makes them hostile. You're constantly hungry and food is limited. It's very easy to die, and once you do, it's game over, man. I've never actually beaten these because I'm a little fucking bitch, what can I say? Also, I'm not trying to play a game for 14 hours straight. Yes, you can't save your game or anything, you can't turn your console off and walk away from it. Once you sit down to play these, you have to beat them in one sitting. Once you beat these, you can unlock Infinity Mode, which is just these survival challenges but endless instead, so it's even fucking worse. What a great reward, guys. As I said a long motherfucking time ago, if you kill the entire population of the town, then you unlock the Mega Buster, and it's real and it is brutal. It demolishes zombies. It basically kills every boss in like a single hit or two. The laser sword is even harder to get as it requires you to beat those aforementioned challenges. According to this video from only a year ago, only 0.42% of players have unlocked this apparently, which is crazy to think about. Also, no, I'm not one of these guys. There's also a full military uniform you can get by killing 10 soldiers and crashing their helicopter outside. To match with that, you can get the Saints Police hat, which is actually pretty difficult to get. You have to successfully save 50 survivors. Yeah, that's like fucking all of them. And all you get is this little hat. From destroying 100 items, you can get some wrestling boots that you can match if you're wrestling undies, that you have to bare hand kill 1,000 different fucking zombies to get. If you can empty a machine gun without missing a single shot, you unlock this Rambo looking ass suit called the Ammo Belt. You can get Jason Voorhees' mask if you collect every single PP sign throughout the mall. Dude, these rewards kind of feel like a slap in the face for all the work you gotta do to get them. There's also the employee's outfit, which you can get if you don't ignore Otis. And don't worry, he makes it very fucking hard for you to do that. And lastly, you can dress up like a convict. All you gotta do for this one is kill and steal the actual convict shit, which I have absolutely no problem doing. So yeah, a lot of the unlockables are kinda weak, which is why I don't often go out of my way to get them when I replay the game. The Mega Buster and the Laser Sword are easily the best too, if you can get them. Good fucking luck though. This game doesn't really have any DLC or anything, but it did get ported to a few different platforms aside from just Xbox. 2 years after its initial launch, it was released on the Wii. Yeah, I'm serious. The Wii obviously wasn't strong enough to play something like this, so they had to majorly downgrade the game to the point where it's not even the same thing anymore. The game's actual gameplay was too dynamic for the Wii, so they basically just cloned the controls from Resident Evil 4 and put them here. So if you like Resident Evil 4 for the Wii, then maybe you should check this out. I mean, the simple gameplay of killing zombies is still very present, but it doesn't nearly feel as fun. You still have a lot of different items you can pick up, but it's practically nothing compared to the base game. There's also way more of a focus on guns rather than just melee weapons, as they're actually a lot easier to use than the melee weapons, which is like the complete opposite of the base game. And you can't even explore them all at your own will. Paths are blocked, entire areas are completely locked away. The mall setting is arguably one of the most important factors of the game. And here it's just kind of used as a backdrop to kill poorly rendered zombies and poodles for some reason. I guess if you're a major fan of Dead Rising or just a fan of Resident Evil 4 for the Wii, then maybe this is worth checking out. Other than that, it just kinda exists. Aside from that though, the game did get another port to fucking iOS devices. For a few years there, before it inevitably got taken down, you were able to play Dead Rising on a fucking iPad, and it was really, really bad. At least the Wii version has decently fun gameplay and vaguely follows the game's story. This version has neither. It feels clunky as hell to play, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the base game narrative. When you start it up, you're given the option to choose your character for some reason. You can be Frank, Brad, Jesse, or Carlito? What? The other two I can somewhat understand. I mean, they're literally allies in the game. But Carlito hates these fuckers. Why the hell am I given the option to play as this game's antagonist? And why is it even a choice what character you play as when none of them have unique traits at all? They all just play identically to each other. You also can't pick up whatever you want and use as a weapon. You're restricted to the select weapons that can be found around the map. Speaking of which, this is definitely not Willamette Mall. It's a confusing and ugly mess that feels extremely repetitive to explore. This game completely abandons the story. Instead, the plot is about you going into a zombie-filled mall to save random survivors and fight super zombies? Fuck it, who cares? Both of these kinda suck, but if you were gonna play either, I'd say just stick with the Wii version. I mean, you literally can't play the iPad version anymore anyway, so whatever. There's a lot of unique weapons in the game, so I wasn't able to talk about all of them through the course of this video. So let's fucking rank them. Now I know what you're thinking. There's no way this motherfucker's gonna rank every single weapon in this game in a tier list. So, yeah, I'm not joking, dude. If you don't give a fuck about this, skip to this time code or just skip to the next chapter, I guess. But without any further ado, let's rank every goddamn weapon. First is the baseball bat. It's a classic, it's a fine weapon, it does pretty decent damage to most zombies. B tier. The 2x4 is like the bat, but not as good. Still a B tier though. Then you have the lead pipe. This shit's deadly for what it is. A tier. Baking ingredients. This just make motherfuckers look like they face planted straight into a pile of cocaine. It's not very effective at all. D tier. Barbell. This shit is pretty deadly. B tier. The battle axe. This baby's badass, but it breaks hella quick. A tier. A bench is effective against hordes, but it takes a while to use and it's very impractical to lug around. C tier. The bike would be a lot more fun if it didn't break immediately. C tier. Boomerang. This allows you to unlock the full powers and potential of Captain Boomerang, aka you can't do shit. F tier. The bowling ball is brutal. It can be used in close quarters and as a long distance weapon. A tier. The bucket. This shit blinds people, which is kinda cool, I guess. C tier. The cactus sounds very fun, but it's very boring in practice. D tier.
They're disappointing. What the fuck?
Canned drinks. These throwables are a lot of fun, but they don't last long at all. C tier. Canned food. You smack dudes with it and you can throw it at dudes for minimal damage. F tier. Cardboard boxes are terrible weapons, but they're great for the supplies that they contain. D tier. A cash register. These are pretty fun, but they don't really do much. D tier. CDs. Nuts. Haha. These throwables are way weaker than the soda cans, which isn't saying much, but they're a little fun to fuck around with. D tier. The ceremonial sword. This thing is sick, it's deadly as hell, and it's quick to use. You unlock it after killing the cult leader Sean, sorry I mean Mike Pence, and it's fucking awesome. S tier. Chainsaw. This thing's a classic, and it really packs a punch for great large crowds. But it's held back by how slow it is to start and how often you'll fucking drop it. A tier. A goddamn fucking chair. It's what you'd expect, I guess. Condiments, if you want to make zombies tasty before they eat you. F tier. The convertible. Instant S tier, obviously. Cooking oil. It makes the floor all slippery so zombies fall down, oh no. It is a little funny though. D tier. Delivery truck. S tier as well, obviously. Dishes. Another throwable that's a lot of fun but not very effective in practice. D tier. Dumbbell. This shit reduces people's brains to soup and that's an instant win in my book. A tier. Excavator. I don't know, you tell me. S tier. A fucking piece of fence. Yep, this exists and it's as useless as you'd expect it to be. F tier. Fire axe. It's good for reducing enemies into smaller pieces of enemies, which puts you at a major advantage, let me tell ya. A tier. The fire extinguisher. It just covers your enemies in a thick layer of cum. In the sequel, it completely freezes them in place somehow, but I guess we don't get that here. Frying pan. It's pretty weak as a base weapon, but if you heat it on a stove, you can burn someone's face off with it, which is pretty dope. C tier. Garbage can. It's also pretty weak, but sometimes it contains chips or even guns. D tier. Gems. These fucking suck. F tier. The golf club. Frank smacks his balls at intense velocity and they instantly obliterate everything in their sight. B tier. The guitar. Frank uses this in the weirdest way. I don't know why, I never noticed that before. C tier. Gumball machine. Yeah, this is pretty fun if you're a monster and have the urge to kill Benson. F tier. Handgun, these classics aren't even half bad. They're the easiest guns to come across in the game, and they're also pretty fun to use. The accuracy is pretty solid, but it just sucks that you can't move at all while you're using it. B tier. Handbag, I never use this. F tier. Hanger, you can shove into people's mouths like a psychopath. D tier. A fucking TV. This one's for all you Psycho Dad fans out there. F tier. A heavy fucking machine gun. S tier. Need I say more? Head trimmer. I like to pretend I'm Woody Harrelson sometimes. A tier. Hockey stick. This is like the golf club, but not as fun. C tier.
I remember laying in bed dreaming about the time your mom tongued my butthole so good I put her in my phone as roll up the rim to win.
Hunk of meat. You can distract a zombie with it, I guess, but it doesn't really get rid of the rest of them. A hunting knife is quick and deadly, and that's all that matters sometimes. A tier. The motherfucking pussy mobile, aka the Jeep. S tier. A classic katana. You can find a lot of these around the map, and they're great. A tier. King salmon. It's fun to whap idiots with these. C tier. A dope-ass laser sword that slices through your enemies like a laser sword slicing through its enemies. S tier. A good old lawnmower. Middle-aged Florida man goes crazy and mows down a bunch of innocent pedestrians. A tier. A giant tube of fucking lipstick. Fun as hell and practical as fuck. D tier. Cliff's machete. This is one of my favorite weapons for boss battles. It's so quick and easy and does a lot of damage. S tier. A machine gun. You can steal one of these from a soldier and they make you feel like God. A mailbox. It's heavy and pretty deadly, but it breaks super quick. C tier. A mannequin. This and several of its limbs used to be godlike weapons, but they fucking fixed that, so I guess it's useless now. F tier. All of it. F tier. The meat cleaver, another boss weapon. This thing is wonderful for crowd control and human enemies. It's pretty similar to the machete. A tier. The Mega Blaster. Yes, Mega Man's gauntlet is in this game and it's fucking incredible, but it's nearly impossible to get. S tier. A Molotov cocktail. You get these from a boss fight as well, but they're much cooler in theory than in actual execution. C tier. A goddamn motorcycle. Unleash your inner Mutt Williams, Ghost Rider, Jason Momoa, and all the other motorcycle guys as you rush through. God damn it. A tier. A nail gun. Ever wanted to recreate that brutal death scene from Final Destination 3 for some fucking reason? Well, keep looking, I guess, because that's not what you're gonna get here. D tier. The mask. They blind enemies who wear them. They're also responsible for the birth of the Wap Goblin.
And you just like kick the door in and you're like, hey! It's weapon time!
C tier. Oil bucket. It does the same shit as a regular bucket. D tier. Can of paint. This heavy bitch can do some serious damage to enemies when they're up close, and when you throw it, it can get them all slippery and shit. D tier. Painting. D tier. A parasol. This is great for making your way through large crowds of enemies. B tier. Shopping cart. Same premise, way more fun though. A tier. Perfume prop. Lame as fuck. F tier. Pickaxe. Not as good as things like sledgehammers, but are still really solid. A tier.
Mining away. I don't know what to mine.
A fucking pie. Most of the time it's just a food, but you can throw it in people's faces, I guess. F tier. Fucking plywood. It's like the fence. Ineffective as hell. F tier. Potted plant. You can wail on your enemies or throw it at them and shatter that shit in their face. You know which one's the right choice. C tier. Propane tank. These can be thrown to kill enemies, but can also be shot to cause a small explosion. Sorry if you were hoping for some Dawn of Death level explosion, but that's not how this shit works in real life, sorry. B tier. A goddamn broom. This sucks, but eventually you can break the end and jab people with it like a spear, which is always appreciated. D tier. Pylons. They make a motherfucker no see no more. D tier. A queen. We've already talked about these. A tier. The rat saucer. Activate the full powers of Captain Boomerang's cousin. Viewer Frisbee. F tier. A rat stick. If you want to tickle your enemies and somehow look racist doing it. F tier. The fake Mega Buster. It's like the cool real one except it shoots toy balls. Kill yourself. A rock. A sausage rack. Inconvenient as fuck. D tier. A regular shelf. Inconvenient as fuck. D tier. A saw blade. It's like the frisbee but actually useful. C tier. Shampoo so you can wash away the infection one zombie at a time. It's the apocalypse and sure it stings. F tier. A shotgun. This is a classic and it's super effective on single zombies, large crowds, and especially bosses. I will always love the shotgun, but I hate how his hand is always hovering next to it. Hold the gun, damn it. A shovel. Take the role of Ed and be the annoying best friend you're always meant to be. B tier. A shower head. I love these. A tier. A sickle. It's really great on small groups of enemies, and on solo ones it even lets you do this. B tier. Signs. Suck. F tier. Skateboard. This would be cool, but they break after like 2 hits, so I guess I'll never go pro. C tier. Skylight, it does exactly what you'd expect. D tier. A good old sledgy. This thing is fucking brutal and it feels so good to use. A tier. Tiny chainsaw. This is easily one of the best weapons in the entire game. S tier, without a shadow of a fucking doubt. A soccer ball is a lot of fun. Just need to practice my fake injured face and soon I'll be as good as Rice Gum. D tier. A smokestack. It's just another thing that blinds people. I'm getting sick of these ones. F tier. Sniper rifle. Ooh wee, these are fun. They're really great for when you're feeling like a total bitch. A tier. A stepping ladder. This thing takes forever to do anything, man. F tier. A stool. It's just a larger chair. D tier. A store display. Just another big waste of time. F tier. Stuffed bear. I said I was getting a little tired of these vision of scaring ones, but I kinda like these because you get to shove a zombie up its ass. C tier. A stun gun. This thing is weak as fuck unless it's being used on mute for some reason. F tier. Submachine gun. Another classic. It's like the handgun but faster. Who wouldn't want that? A tier. Then we get a regular sword. It's not as cool as the coal one, but it's still pretty exciting. A tier. Toolbox. It kinda hurts enemies, I guess, and sometimes you'll find a saw inside. I don't know, guys. I don't have a comment for everything. D tier. There's cubes that can be kicked around like a soccer ball in C tier. The toy laser sword just ain't the same after you've had the real deal. F tier. Bigger TV. It's the same shit. D tier. A base is just another thing to throw in a zombie's face and laugh about it for a few seconds. D tier. A water gun is just basically your spit but with rapid fire. F tier. There's a weaponized shopping cart that has blades sticking out of it and it's dope as hell, but you can only use it in Sean's food and stuff. So I'm gonna say like, C tier. The Weiss sedan is another S tier. A wine case just breaks, it's lame. F tier. Oh, I guess that's it. That's the whole list. Take a look and enjoy, I guess. And that's it, guys, finally for real this time. I've said everything I wanted to say, and I can finally end this fucking video, but before I do, I gotta say a very huge thank you to everyone who read lines for this video. All their channels will be linked below, be sure to check them out, and I wanted to say a huge thanks to all of you viewers as well. I've been feeling pretty burnt out lately, and a lot of the recent support has been making me feel a lot better, so thank you guys so much. You motivate me to make more of this content, so thank you dearly. But that's all I got, I guess. Be sure to check out Dead Rising if you're interested. It's pretty cheap and it goes on sale quite often, so chances are you'll be able to pick it up for a good price, and I guarantee that it will be worth your money. It's a good game, dude, take my word for it. I made a 2-hour long video about it. You think I just made this shit up? You think I just lie? You think I don't actually like this game or something? Because you're right. Fuck this game. 0 out of 10. Oh, don't worry, baby. I'll talk about you later.
Dude, I'm trying to find footage right now, and I think people, there's like a small community of people who get off to the getting eaten by female zombies in Dead Rising. Like, look at this shit, dude. This guy asked for a compilation and specifically wanted it to be 20 minutes long. And then he literally says, okay, try posting it within 1 hour. Like, he needed to get that nut in. This man has requested multiple videos from this guy that are all 20-minute long videos of female zombies eating the protagonist, bro. It is so fucked.